Last week's SEC loss in the XRP ruling had altcoiners cheering. Well, now that the dust has settled, what does this really mean, and what can we expect going forward? Welcome back. You knew that we were going to have to dive into this. I just wanted to wait for the dust to settle because last week was a whole bunch of noise. You know, everybody, all the shitcoiners are all excited. Oh, great, XRP is not a security. But what does that really mean, right? And why does it even really matter? Anyways, let's dive into this interesting article out of Crypto Intelligence. Ex-federal prosecutor surprised by potential SEC appeal in Ripple case. That's right, because of course, after the favorable ruling in XRP's favor, immediately people started to talk about, hey, is there going to be an appeal by the SEC? Now, also, the actual XRP ruling is kind of two-pronged. It's not entirely all positive for the XRP community. The CEO of Han Ventures, Katie Han, a former federal prosecutor turned chief executive of a crypto-focused venture capital fund, the incentives, they're definitely not in the way there, expressed her surprise at the possibility of an immediate appeal from the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, regarding the Ripple case ruling. Han believes that the SEC benefits from the lack of legal clarity. I have to think about that one for a little bit. I can see her point. The gray area kind of leaves the SEC an open door to push people around and push businesses around. Anyways, let's continue. On July 13th, Judge Annalisa Torres granted a partial summary judgment in favor of Ripple Labs, determining that XRP is not a security. Some commentators speculated that the SEC might appeal the decision. Han took to Twitter on July 15th to explain her skepticism about an immediate appeal. She stated that the SEC wants to maintain the current confusion as it works in their favor, and losing on appeal could put their future enforcement actions at risk. I can't disagree with that. If they rush into an appeal with Ripple Labs, they may actually make it more difficult for themselves in the future to attempt to prosecute these types of projects. Jeremy Hogan, a U.S. lawyer and Ripple commentator, shared his belief that the SEC might launch an appeal after the scheduled trial between the SEC and Ripple concludes in early 2024. The recent ruling in the Ripple case, while not a binding precedent, could potentially influence the outcomes of these cases. U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis emphasized the urgent need for Congress to establish a clear and comprehensive regulatory framework for the cryptocurrency industry, highlighting the significance of the recent ruling. That's right. So essentially, the SEC lost this ruling, not in its entirety, but mostly lost this ruling against Ripple. And now Senator Cynthia Lummis is taking it up a step and says, hey, we need to make sure that this gets established in Congress, that we have clear rules in Congress. Now, let's take a look at this ruling, because there has been some argument. There has been some argument on Twitter as to whether or not this is a full win for XRP. I don't usually quote the shitcoiners, but when I do, it's about shitcoiny things. So here we go. Adam Cochran. He's giving a rundown of the Ripple case, the good and the bad. So let's dive into it, because really, I just want a specific piece of what he dove into that I think is very important. So here we go. Ripple case. Here is the good and the bad. But it is mostly very good for alts, and surprisingly a big win for XRP. First, Judge did decide institutional sales fundraising was securities. Having considered the economic reality and totality of circumstances surrounding the institutional sales, the court concludes that Ripple's institutional sales of XRP constituted the unregistered offer and sale of investment contracts in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. But the pragmatic sale on exchanges didn't meet the third prong of the Howey test. So sales to users via exchanges was fine, as long as it was through order book and not ICO, IEO launchpad like things. Okay, and what he means by that is that, so if you've participated in any of the 2017, 2018 ICOs, which I did, and I got wrecked. What happened was that there would be a website, right? And this website essentially would offer a type of a method for you to essentially purchase or pre-purchase the tokens. Okay, so you would send them, whatever method of payment that they accept. Usually it's Bitcoin or ETH, and they let you know what the conversion rate is going to be. Now, clearly, those purchases are being made as an investment. I can tell you that when I purchased shitcoin in an ICO, I did it under the guise that I was going to have a favorable rate of return. I expected that the value of what this thing was that I bought was going to grow. Clearly, I was wrong, right? I was obviously wrong. So the vast majority of individuals who purchased XRP from digital asset exchanges did not invest their money in Ripple at all. Okay, that's right, because all they did was buy the shitcoin. An institutional buyer knowingly purchased XRP directly from Ripple pursuant to a contract, but the economic reality is that a pragmatic buyer stood in the same shoes as a secondary market purchaser who did not know to whom or what it was paying its money. Okay, so I mean, they were able to pull that one out of the hat. Good for them. Okay, so the big question, right? Like, what does this mean? Everybody got excited, but look, the reality is this: Ripple Labs controls XRP. Okay, it controls XRP in its entirety. It is a business. Okay, and I know that people don't like this analogy, but unfortunately, this is what the truth is. It's no different than a Chuck E. Cheese token. Okay, it's a business that went and created, so to speak, a currency. There's not that blockchain really matters because it's just a slow database, but there is no blockchain behind XRP either. Okay, so number one, you have Ripple, which on more than one occasion, has dumped XRP onto the market in order to fund the corporation. I want you guys to think about this, okay? In a traditional company, a company produces a product or service or combination of both. And what happens is that they make profit from that. Okay? That's how that works. And essentially, when a company is profitable, if they are publicly held, and there are shareholders, that company may choose to pay those profits to the shareholders in the form of a dividend or reinvest it in the business. But you see, as a shareholder, you have there is a legal binding contract, so to speak, where that you holding those shares entitles you to the benefits from that business. Okay. Now, when you hold XRP, you're not entitled to anything. Nothing. Zero. It doesn't make a difference if they're profitable. Okay. It doesn't matter. If Ripple Labs decides to go public and do an initial public offering of shares, your tokens won't mean shit. They already don't mean shit. Let me just be honest. They already don't mean shit. But they won't mean shit in regards to the public offering. So in the grand scheme of things, I know the Ripple army is going to totally hate me, and I don't really care because I understand that this is a shitcoin. Guys, I got grifted on this crap too. I fell for all of this technology stuff. All the banks are going to use Ripple. That's what they're going to do. They're going to use XRP. No, they're not. They're already not using it. Okay? The ISO 20022 standard came out in November. And do you know what the banks did? They hired engineers within the banking system to develop their own framework. Now, the new grift is going to be, well, when the banks make their framework, we're gonna be able to connect up to it because XRP is already ISO 20022 compliant. What's anyone going to use it for? Why would anyone use it? And why would it gain value to you? Let's say the banks do use it for interbank transfers. How does that help you? I mean, right now, let's say Swift had a token. What would you do with it? You can't use it. You as a non-bank can't do shit with Swift. You can't do anything with it at all. Why would it matter if it had a token? And I know it's difficult to imagine this because what happens is that people have superimposed these mental gymnastics where they've equated tokens that have absolutely none of the benefits as shares, and have decided that these tokens somehow represent some type of a contract where there's some type of value that's going to be had from it. There is no responsibility in any way, shape, or form from the corporation to you as a token holder. None whatsoever. Anyways, guys, so look, grand scheme of things, we're watching a show. It's a lot of entertainment. To me, it really makes no difference whether the SEC said that XRP is a security or not a security or whatever. At the end of the day, it's still a shitcoin, okay? And guess what? That ruling was just a pump and dump. That's all that happened. The price pumped and it dumped. Anyways, guys, look, if you're here for the real thing, if you're here for censorship-resistant money, if you are here for time value storage that the government cannot debase, cannot freeze, cannot control, stick with Bitcoin. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you all tomorrow.